Hello everyone, my name is Boris, and today I'll be doing a VOD review of Robinsongz from the second day's the TPC that happened over this weekend. He had a quite good second day, and I would like to see how he managed to navigate some of his lines. Unfortunately did not make the final lobby, but that does not matter, as some couple of games he was playing very strongly, and is generally known as fundamentally a very strong player. As you might also see, very familiar names in this lobby: Michael, CMB, Boso Skills, Vasion, K3 Soju, Popster, so these are all the top NA players there are. Well, Americas to be more precise. We start with the upgraded 2-star 1 cost, but he does not value Blitzcrank as high, so we just sell it. You see the Ionia. I did not catch exactly which one it was, but I guess we'll see a little bit. He seems to be playing around it for now. Debating to make 10, yes we do. We also check the Void mod to see. Alright, so here for our augment. Silver Spoon, we generally want to take something to tempo with. We sold our 1 cost, and we do not have a very strong board, so we probably pass on it. Catered Craftering is something great that in an encounter that will probably give you more components. And in general, this meta, we value components more, so I would default extra buckles for now here. And seems to agree with an Axiom. Probably still debating on which Silver Spoons we could slot in the Void and keep both outs out, and the general econ is not that much, but we'll see. We roll it. Alright. With a Maxim would probably also be something that we would want to play around if we kept a unit, for example, such as Scion. That would also lead to possible grid outs. With extra buckles, we could slap here either Sunfire or Spirit Visage, both quite good tank items, and especially early on. And I think that's what we are going to go with. Yes, we do. And we are able to also nicely pick up Gen 2 from this shop. So we're going to play around it for now. And we're going to go with this Visage Slam. Just slam our components. And yeah, we're going to look to make 10 as well. Facing a bilge player, very default line right now. Unfortunately gated behind the TF. But alright, so it was the path of the spirits where you gain more damage and everything on cast, so purely a combat one. This is probably good for capping out boards. The Ionia comp also was had a very decent, very good actually Winshare. It's just a little bit harder to get to than something like Rise and Ziggs, perhaps. Because it also can play around 3 to 4 itemized frontline carries. And the top end nowadays seems a little bit less contested. So if you actually manage to get to that board, it would be quite great. However, it's a little harder to do so without having one of the econ generating Ionias, especially Prosperous. And they also note that it seemed to be Soju who's going to be playing around some Yasuo reroll. Also a good line in the meta if you have a Yasuo opener with a slam, and he had already a Yasuo too. Generally we were looking to perhaps streak in the stage here, but unfortunately our frontline is not sufficient and we do not have a backline slam, so we're probably going to look to see if we can complete a backline slam here. If we can manage to grab a cloak here, yes, 3 cost cloak, quite good here to complete. Also makes a little bit up for the streak we lost. I would imagine we slam a Kraken here. And our augment here would also want us to level a little bit, but it seems we're gonna pass. Just gonna slam the Kraken here. Since our streak broke, we're just gonna try to econ up because the comp we're aiming for is in a sense, a fast 9 comp. We do want quite a bit of econ to get to that board state, and ideally faster than all the Rigs and Ziggs players manage to cap. Alright, so we're just gonna level here, try to end on the 2 streak, keep the tempo up and feed our augment as well as we are able to slot in. We're able to slot in a Mundo here. Unfortunately, we queue into a very strong board from Soju. I do not think we have the oh, okay, yeah, maybe the Jin's fourth shot was able to take down Yasuo, but unfortunately not. So we are in a mixed streak situation, not the exact spot we would like to find ourselves in. Slot out Xin for the Yasuo is generally, if the Yasuo is an itemized, Xin is a little preferred as an extra frontline, especially for Jin. And we have the option of high rolling a 2-star frontliner as our Shen is still only at 1 star. Gonna drop more tank components. Bramble Vest fallen out of meta a little bit from the last patches. There's a lot more people playing around AP. We have the Lux, the Macias. We have Ryzix. Also, yeah, the sauna reels and all that. Excuse me. Alright. So, queuing into Lumen with perhaps the Demacia setup, or I would assume with this augment you're trying to lean into it, but do not seem to have very many copies, so we'll see. Alright, so here Pandora's Bench generally we would want something that we would play around 1-cost reroll. It's not as great to go for other rerolls due to the econ tax. Well, being offered here, it could help, but it's not fitting in our game plan in any way. Warlord's Honor is also a little slow, and we're not exactly having the units we're going to be playing around, so we would have to stack it up again. Solo Pate is good, something to play around for something like Wukong, so I would assume we default that for now. But we have an open tank component, and I believe we have 2 tank slams right now. So I don't think that's exactly what... Yeah, we have the Bramble Vest made, so we're gonna roll that first. Alright, so he kept around... So he still kept the Pandoras as a possible econ option, pseudo-econ, so to say. However, we get another tank item. Walk the True Path is... We do not have the Giga Spot to get to 10, and we do not have an Ionia emblem, nor a way to... If Soju is rerolling Yasuo, this is not fitting our game plan, so I'd assume we're gonna go with the Forge here, probably. Not the options exactly we're satisfied with. Alright, so we literally see that he's gonna be leaning into the Gambler's Blade. Seeker's Arm Guard is not... Again, Hull Crusher and Aegis are gonna be tank items, and Seeker's Arm Guard is not something that is very playable in this comp. I'm not exactly sure if I remember who plays the best around Seeker's Amgar, but we can just quickly check here. So yeah, in the current meta, if we can exclude Ornn from potential later prints, so Set seems to be played around Seeker's Amgar, but I'm not sure if that's exactly the most prominent. Generally the artifacts averaging only about in 4.3s. I would probably lean Gambler's Blade as here as also as well, because it generates our econ for what we need to go fast 9, and gives us a second item on our only upgraded unit as well, and synergizes in a sense a little bit with the Kraken we have here. And as long as we remain at top on the econ threshold, we could use it as a placeholder for against those Rageblade. High roll, finally some nice frontline here with Wukong in a level 6 shop. Also going to be able to slot in 5 Ionia, keep the Gunslinger up. Debating if we're going to go for 4 Bruisers. As 4 Bruisers, yeah, that's a nice way to note that this is going to add just a more HP. We do not have any of the resource generating Ionia, especially the XP one, which would benefit from having more right now. And we're not on a streak to need extra combat power, so simply having more frontline here to get our augment cashed out as soon as possible is great. This is the recognition of, even though Robinsongz himself, as you can see at the top, is sitting right now in the Grandmasters, just for so much experience having being able to fundamentally have a great understanding of the game is always able to capitalize even in the meta. So we pick up a pan here. As we can see, Pro's still valuing the new emblem buffs quite high. Also gonna level here for Ari, and alright, now, yeah, we can just use the pan with the open belt, as we know we're gonna have 2 more belts incoming that could transition exactly into the Warmogs. So great read to utilize the emblem here. Now we have a steady front line and some resemblance of a backline. For playing into the Ishtal player. Does he check their quest? Not sure. But being on 270 at this point in stages, I think it's, if I recall correctly, it's on tempo. If we do the math, we, in a sense, would want to get around 40 shards per turn, but the trade being very hard to execute. And so now we queue in the Soju's Yasuo, who has picked up Silverman's Dawn. I'm not sure how well that slots onto a Yasuo. Was probably trying to fish for a better artifact with that Forge. And we're able to take it down, even though they have high roll the Yunara. Without items, she's not that as efficient, especially after the nerfs this patch. So we have managed to play the stage very well. Bounce back, string together a little 3 streak, even though our front line is still not as strong. I was gonna slam an IE here, get a dupe and an open tier to play around. I'm gonna probably hold on to the dupe for now to see if we can upgrade something a little bit later, as we do not value the Mundo or Shadarton as high right now. I'm gonna have the backline terror dispatch of Fizz. Thankfully not jumping on our backline right away, and we're able to take it out, but with the bilge tempo and the units they have, we do not pick up a strong here. Alright, so immediate brawl of trifecta, that's completely understandable. It's defaulting Soul Awakening, which is a very, very strong combat augment even after the nerfs. Component heist again is just a little too, it's just too slow, and we want to preserve as much HP as we can right now to get to our state of a board. Hold the line, not putting into that either. Pass here, keeping the Dravens as a potential out for an item carrier. I'm gonna send it here to try to find a Yunara. Yeah, we do so, and we did not pick up a Draven 2, position to unlock our set, and we've cashed out our augment as well, which allows us to slam a Warmogs here. And we also hit unlock 4. Unlock 4 Volibear. So it'll be interesting to see if we're gonna play around that in any kind of capacity. Also, the Bruiser emblem is quite nice on set, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so slotting in the Volibear here, duping the Ahri, putting the Bruiser emblem on the set. We're still quite low, so also the on goal. We just choose to send deep this turn, as this board does really want to play around upgraded units. We're not gonna be buying the Wukong right now, because we get a little bit of attack speed this way from the Gambler's Blade. Just gonna buy it last second, which is completely fine, only as long as you trust yourself to remember to buy it. And the general Ionia line is gonna strive this patch only if it's uncontested. You can play from a tempo spot like this. If you are playing from a weaker opener, it's not a good line to default to. Pick up a Wukong upgrade here. Just gonna value that as our gold is low. And perhaps now with the... Wait, did someone take a golden egg in a TPC lobby? Now that will be interesting to see if a player has managed to cash out that. Facing boss Oxils, who sit to construct a companion to just pick up a soul and a tree, and then sorted their items out with a 1 overflow. But our frontline has managed to bypass the stat check provided from this comp. Also, decently showing the trigger discipline not to roll here. Trying to keep the Gambler's Blade stacks up. Now we fight Soju, who has hit their Yasuo 3 and has unlocked that Ionia on level 10, trying to make their way to 8-10 so for level 8. Yeah, I do not believe into this Seeker Zamgar. Seeker Zamgar, the artifact the Soju has. I do not believe it does not seem to perform as well on the Yasuo right there. A Silverman Dawn, there we go. Alright, so we slammed the Vow with a tier, so we could consider a JG here for a set. However, we're just gonna opt for a TG, and yeah, we can slot that Vow on Swain to nicely sort it out. Just gonna toss the open road on Ahri. We have the HP. We are able to make our way to 8 here. We believe to be able to make our way to 9. Because this comp, if it does not reach level 9, Leech's cap is going to bleed out. And this is where we also note that we're still quite low on gold. Now we have a Yunara pair, so it could be interesting to consider if the possibility of rolling here. Yeah, so there is someone with a golden egg, but maybe it's a Call to Chaos golden egg, which is acceptable. Yeah, it's a Call to Chaos golden egg, which gives you an extra 2 component anvils, which, yeah, actually is not the worst thing in that sense. Fighting a Volibear 2 here, but we did enough damage for a set to take it out from, and we are able to send Asian Iverson to 7th. Right, so you can see that, yeah, this comp still has some ult even with an upgraded backline. We checked the golden egg HP, but it seems to be not that far from crashing out. But they seem to be a little bit lower on the HP side. Managed to dodge the Fizz. Tom Camch might eat our Wukong though. Yes, it seems to do so. It crumbles our front line, and yeah, we do not have the damage to compete against this Bilgewater board from Michael. Coming onto the carousel, we're probably looking to... Interesting to see if we maybe, because we're picking up a BT here, so we are... Can service as a frontline for now, with either as a Volibear item or a potential move to set afterwards. Go to 9 here. Skip the upgrade on the Sway Draven, as we do want to get the quick striker back in through Kindred. It's going to help our frontline out as well. Alright, so here's the final test of the Silvermare Dawn Yasuo. Still have not managed to find their way to Ionia 2, and yeah, the comp at this stage in the game is not able to compete, and this also returns our Yunaras to the pool, making our rolls more efficient. I'm going to opt to pass on the Shyvana here, and finally are able to find a Yunara 2. I'll go back to the bus here, but with 2. With 2 Demacia emblems. But does not seem to be the greatest itemization on their side, so we are able to take that down. Now, we do not have a spare Jhin, so we are probably passing on capping. Well, Senna could service as a possibility still without a gunslinger, but the most default variation would be to have a Jhin instead of this Ahri. And we have not really invested AP items as well. Pick up a Taric here, great unit in this meta with a Protector's Vow to get also on the Swain to get the cast off faster. Ideally, we would probably looking to be able to slot out this the Gambler's Blade on the Yunara, but we have simply not been offered any really serviceable options, as there are not that many. I could imagine we have Titans another Kraken, or ideally, obviously, a Rage Blade. I'm gonna move the double Vow BT to a Volibear 2 that we just upgraded, and the Bruiser emblem to a Taric. It should be generally a little bit stronger because Swain services as a simply one and done cash champion at this point. He gets his ult off, gets the stun off, and we are able to say, alright, thanks for the show, you done your job, Swain. And also the Protector's Vows could help Volibear get to his, if I believe it's a third or a fourth cast, where he goes berserk. Yeah, so after third cast right there. Fighting the Demacia board again, the set 2 doing some heavy lifting right now. We're able to get, and now we have a Kindred with a Rage Blade. I would assume we lean into it. Oh, instead we opt to make a Ionia emblem, right. So still valuing the emblems very high. This allows us to drop the Ari and slot in a Shyvana. 2 Arcanists not doing... It's nice for set. 2 Arcanists is quite nice for set, but we seem to do not to value as much on the rest of the board. The Yunara's attack speed gain from AP is quite low. And the Ionia emblem is able to provide Volibear with some extra stats that we are currently lacking in the offensive side of things. And we've managed to secure a top 2 with Michael's Bilgewater board going 4th, not able to cap as high as CMB, and Boso's skills going 3rd with the Constructor Companion Sona. And let's see how we fare up against this bilge board. It seems that we were able to dodge the Fizz, and then they are not able to bypass our very strong front line. There's just lots of meat on this board, and the extra emblems gives us 4 Bruiser, plus the Shyvana cast reduces our incoming damage. Still not able to make it to a 3rd Yunara item. Instead gonna pick up Asterix, which is perfectly fine here. Roll for some upgrades. Hit the Kindred too. Give us a little bit more. Doing an interesting positioning here. I'm not... Does he... Right, so... That did manage to bait the Fizz to jump in a different direction. And we're able to win the fight because of it. Because the Fizz only got so late in our Yunara, we were able to do it. So let's just watch this again. Alright, so one thing that we have managed to do is, with the Fizz being right now in front of the Wukong. However, if the Fizz was here, it would still probably come up here and be able to attack, which, while we may not believe that tooltip could still going on a Taric here. Here it would probably also wrap. And I doubt it would target Volley, because Volley is targeted as a fighter. Here it would still probably go on the set, but it's just fine. Here it still goes on the Taric, and perhaps jumps on the Wukong. So let's see, the Fizz jumps here, and it jumps on the Shen. Then it jumps back on the Shyvana. And not only in the end it got to Yunara, but it was just simply too late, and it managed... Great positioning display from the Robin. Unfortunately, we do not get the Robin walk, but very much outplayed against one of the most annoying units in the current meta. And showing very well how you can pilot this line. Still 2 very high placement wins against these capped Bilgewater boards. If we just take a look back, the board that we're fighting is quite strong. They have hit their 2-star. They have managed to get to Ziggs, but unfortunately not Ziggs 2. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how he managed to pilot this, and I hope you enjoyed watching this and learned also something new just as I did. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.